Hi, it's Lindsey Carlson here. I just did a video showing off my parents' audio cassette tape collection that they gave me, but they also gave me their old 8-track tapes. So today we're going to continue the video, but we're going to look at the 8 tracks this time around. So let's see what my parents had in their 8-track collection back in the day. First of all, we have Joe Walsh, The Smoker You Drink, The Player You Get, the album he made after he left the James Gang, but before he joined the Eagles. Speaking of the Eagles, right here we have the One of These Nights album. Boston, their legendary 1976 debut album. Yeah, something called Stars. Looks like this is like a various artists compilation. 8-track cartridge, 90-minute recording time. So I guess this was like a blank 8-track. I didn't even know those were a thing. Here's another of those blank ones, but it says An Evening with John Denver, so I guess my dad made a copy of The Beatles, Yesterday and Today. Interesting trivia, the hard rock band Y&T, their name was originally Yesterday and Today, and they got that from this album. The Beatles Part 1, I'm guessing this is the self-titled White Album, because even with CDs you have to split that across 2 discs. The Rolling Stones, Sticky Fingers. Elton John, Captain Fantastic and the Dirt Brown Cowboy. Okay, this is another one of those copy ones. It looks like it's got both Rod Stewart and Buffalo Springfield. I recognize my dad's handwriting. Yeah, 8-track professional quality. Looks like this is another blank tape, but I don't know if there's anything on here or not. Unfortunately, I don't have any way of playing 8 tracks. Bad Company, Straight Shooter, their second album. This one has no label, but it looks like someone scribbled, looks like that says Cat Stevens. The Beatles, something new. So that would have been one of their American market release albums back in the day. Meet the Beatles, that's another one of those American market Beatles albums. Essentially, this is the UK with the Beatles LP, but it omits some of the deep tracks and puts on some of the non-album hit singles. Here's another copied one. This says Loggins and Messina, Best of Friends. Here's another copied one. It's Loggins and Messina, Sitting In, and then the Motherload album. Another copied one. This says James Taylor on it. Nothing more specific than that. Elton John, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. Elton John, Rock of the Westies. Neil Diamond, Hot August Night. Another copy one. This says Loggins and Messina, not really specific about what album, and The Best of Gordon Lightfoot. Might be the self-titled second Loggins and Messina album. And then we have Bob Welch, French Kiss. And I'm guessing these 8 tracks were my dad's, just based on who's in here. And I think the ones in the other case here were my mom's, so let's get into those now. Steely Dan, Pretzel Logic. Joe Cocker, Santana, Welcome. Queen, their first album. I'm a little surprised that either of my parents actually own this, because this is more of like a deep cuts album. There's not really a huge hit on here. And there's even the second one, Queen 2. I think it's safe to say that these were my mom's because my dad absolutely hates Queen. Yeah, this one, the label's a little ripped. It says something Michaels. Is this like Lee Michaels? Okay, I'm not familiar with that artist. Black Sabbath, the first album. Interesting trivia. This was released on Friday, February 13th, 1970, so it literally came out on Friday the 13th. And it only took 12 hours to record this album. It took like 3 weeks to mix, but only about 12 hours to record, and it was live in the studio. Steppenwolf, their first album. This one's just blank. I don't even see any writing on this one. The Beach Boys, Surf's Up. There was an audio cassette of that, too. James Taylor's Greatest Hits. He's showing up quite a bit. James Gang, Miami. This is a really unusual find because this is post Joe Walsh James Gang. This is actually Tommy Bolin playing guitar on this. The guy who would later replace Ritchie Blackmore in Deep Purple for one album. And then, of course, he'd die of a drug overdose about a year later, sadly. The Doobie Brothers, Toulouse Street. And the guy who produced all the old Doobie Brothers albums was Ted Templeman, who produced the David Lee Roth Van Halen albums and even the first 3 Bullet Boys albums. There's a Savoy Brown label here, but I don't know if there's actually the tape that was attached to. The Hollies, Distant Light. Of course, Graham Nash before he was in Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Although this has a 1972 copyright, so this probably would have been after Graham Nash left. Demons and Wizards, Uriah Heep. I remember in the audio cassettes we had The Magician's Birthday. Bachman Turner Overdrive, the first album. That's kind of an unusual one to have because the first album didn't really have a huge hit. It had the song Stayed Awake All Night, which was later remade by the heavy metal band Crocus, but outside of that one, this one didn't have huge hits on it, so that's a little unusual. Bachman Turner Overdrive again. This is four-wheel drive, probably best known for being the one that has the song Hey You on it, not to be confused with the Pink Floyd song of the same name. And the last thing in here does not have anything written on it, so this might be that Savoy Brown one that we found the label for. Okay, and now we arrive at the end of the video. Pretty interesting collection of 8-track tapes here from both of my parents from way back in the day. How about you? Do you buy or collect 8-track tapes? You got any great ones in your collection? Comment down below and let me know what you think. Also, remember to subscribe to this channel for more content. I'm always posting new videos, and make sure to give us a like if you found it helpful. I'm Taylor T. Carlson. See you next time.